either of us.
Or Zim?
So yeah, his stand, it implants a body, and then a bomb.
Man, you're gonna have to sit down.
You're gonna have to sit down for this one. So the stand implants a body.
Actually, we can do this for 2 hours.
He puts a bomb into their bodies, and the girls explode. And all that's
The
left.
girl explodes.
Yeah.
That sounded good.
And all that's left is their hand. He has a severed hand fetish.
Okay.
I'm gonna check my
Sorry.
He has
Yeah, what did Dave have to say?
I thought they work with the sea.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of the body.
Do we have another question?
Yeah, I love her.
Darn it.
Okay, so now I actually have two from not from that, but from something else. So what I was originally going to ask was, I know that a couple of the earlier issues of the comics basically adapted unfinished episodes, and I know that some of the big ones would be tough to do, but are there plans to do any more of those? Because those are really neat. And the newer one was, how many of those little moments, like Tack having the same march and some other things sort of hinting at what she is, how many of those little moments in the show were actually planned and how many it just came back that way?
The first question was...
Were there any of the unfinished episodes that end up in the comics?
Addressing of the comics.
Yeah.
We don't plan on doing them. It might pop up. The ones that we did were from the writer who wrote those episodes.
Is that Eric?
Eric Trueheart wrote those episodes, and they never got made. So when the comics came around, he wanted to finally be able to do those episodes. That was the pants one, the alien pants that
Yeah,
came over.
it was another one.
It was a good one. Those pants were nasty. Just veiny pants. What was your
And
other question?
the other one was, how many of those little details, the really neat little details in the show, how many of those were actually intentional and how many was just fortuitous that it came back that way?
It depends on the details. A lot of stuff, like specific animation stuff, we would get stuff back that wasn't planned. Like the traffic, we would try and make the best of it. Generally, you get animation back, you call it retakes. You're like, oh, this isn't what we wanted. If you feel like it was a technical mistake that they just didn't pull something off that was clearly, they were clearly instructed to do, then you call a retake. But as budgets dwindle and time runs out, you're not able to do retakes, so we ended up with a scene where we didn't have the time to have them go back and put traffic in for weird walks, like Ultra PP. There's that scene where Ultra PP kind of has that he's sort of strutting. We didn't know why it came back like that. It was weird. We're like, some Korean animator was just like, no, we're gonna make this hamster like, and I thought that was hilarious. And so that turned into a joke. We had Kevin, the composer, Kevin Manthey, do like this sort of like funky strut to that walk, and that stuff is great when a mistake turns into a joke. It's not always the case, but I think it's funny when people notice that stuff. We have there's a scene in Walk of Doom, which I think is one of the ugliest episodes ever made. There's a scene in a bank where there's a character who walks by, and they made it. He just walks by. He's not a main character. So a guy walks by, and he's the overseas studio just animated him and drew him way off scale. He's a giant of a man. You don't even see his head. He's just towering. And I thought, I'm like, this is a horrible mistake. Wait a minute. Let's just add giant Godzilla footsteps when he walks by. It's really fast. But when you can save stuff by making it dumber, a lot of the things that people think are like weird and random in Zim aren't planned. They're just awful things that happen that we're like, let's use it. Let's just make it work. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there was a while that you were doing music videos, like Mindless Self-Indulgence. How did
Yep.
that come about, and was that a fun experience?
Music videos, I wish I did them more often. They approached me, Mindless Self-Indulgence, Jimmy approached me. He was a fan of my stuff, which was cool. He was like, hey, I'm a fan of your stuff, and he wanted me to do a music video. It just as simple as that. It was great. I loved working with him.
Friends ever since.
Yeah, we've been friends ever since. They're great. He's a great guy. Yeah, both of those videos was just him reaching out. Yeah, I love to be doing more of that stuff, but I haven't pursued it. Yes.
Which Zim character do you think would be the most successful Twitch streamer?
Probably Gaz, because she's the one who plays video games. I can't imagine Dib giving it the time of day.
That might be fascinating, or it's just chaos.
I can imagine, like, in the movie, one of the early ideas was that Dib would have like a conspiracy theory YouTube style channel, not YouTube, but something like that. He might on in the comics, I think.
Oh yeah, he
There
does.
are a few comics where, like, he's got this like nemesis YouTuber guy. But Gaz, I don't think she would be into it though. I don't think she'd give a shit about people watching her.
People would probably get bits and she would ignore them.
I get frustrated watching people play video games. I can't do it. Especially if it's a game that I haven't played.
Rather play the video yourself.
Yeah, I'd rather do it myself. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah.
So a lot of the times when I've watched the show, I've thought, boy, I'd like to ask him what he thinks about this thing, and usually it's because the show is making some funny commentary about some unit of society. I'll ask about one. I always loved Blody's Pizza Hog,
Yeah.
because I thought that is just such a funny commentary on fast food and fast food advertising. I'd love to ask, Mr. Vasquez about what he thinks about fast food and fast food advertising.
It's kind of hard in Zim to really specifically talk about things that I'm trying to say about the world, because all of the world in Zim is awful. Which is, it's an interesting thing. It was one of my concerns when they approached me about doing the movie. I feel like Zim's from just a different time, different attitude. I feel like things these days are a lot more concerned about being nice
Gentle.
and friendly, even though it's not necessarily nice and gentle times. It's horrible, horrible times. So doing something where everyone was awful didn't really sound it didn't make as much sense to me. Kind of like how, part of the reason why I used to use Twitter a lot. Very specifically to just say horrible, horrible things. Like, kind of impossibly awful. The kind of thing that hopefully people would look at and go, ha, I get it. That's impossibly awful. I do that less now because that's just Twitter now. Like, that's just people now. Like, they're not being funny. They're being who they are, and like, it's not as funny to play that because I don't have to. Now we've got people who are just fucking disgusting. And there was a little bit of that back on Zim, this idea that this is a horrible world. Hopefully for people to look at it and go, oh, I don't want to live in that world. Let's not live in that world. Characters too. There's no characters in Zim who don't exemplify noble characteristics. They're all awful people. You don't really want to, I see people sort of romanticizing the characters, which is really funny to me because you don't want to be in a room with them. Like, Din is the hero, but he's this shrieking, awful, just impatient, kind of egotistical thing. Same as, he's very similar to Zim. But can you think of like a good person in Zim?
Minnie Moose?
Minnie Moose.
Yeah,
You don't really know Minnie Moose. It is a noble. There's something.
Some darkness going on in me. Can I touch upon something with the bloody thing?
Yeah.
Knowing you, the way I do, you just love dudes in mascot.
I do.
costumes.
I do.
Like, I'm gonna say that's probably where that came from, because Jhonen finds nothing funnier than a horrifying mascot costume.
I can't remember when that first surfaced. I just always loved people in costumes being sad.
Just falling, injuring themselves.
Yeah, like going to conventions where people are, cosplaying. One of my favorite things is seeing someone dressed up sad. And one of my favorites was, and I don't like people being sad, but you put them in like a silly costume, and I'm like, that's hilarious. I saw, I think I might have said this before. I went to go see Ricky Simons at a convention that he was at. I wasn't doing it. Like, it wasn't really my kind of convention. It was like an anime convention. And there was a little girl. I don't know. She looked like maybe she was like 15. She was in a pirate outfit, like a little pirate outfit, little pirate hat, and a little plastic saber, a little tiny plastic pirate saber. She was slumped against the wall on the floor. Like, she was literally just like this, with her little, and she was just like clicking the saber, against the ground, and she looked miserable. And I loved it.
Oh, it's like that one Halloween when I saw those two girls dressed as Mario and Luigi, and the Luigi was like vomiting against the wall. Mario was like irritatedly on their phone, just like, Luigi. It was a really high point in my life.
You can't beat that. Sports mascots falling, injuring themselves. They try, that's where stuff like Bloaty or Zim in that Sizzleware costume, dancing in Greece is just like sad but weirdly festive. So Bloaties is very much, yes, like disgusting kind of Americanized fast food, just people shoving food into their faces. But it's kind of a love-hate thing. Like, I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and, part of me understood this is dirty, But it was kind of this wonderland, this nightmare wonderland. The animatronics, again, I loved all the robots and the animatronics, but they were alarming. Kind of like dirty carnival ride, like, oh, this thing's dangerous. Bloaty just is this place where all of that, Bloaties is just this place where I put all of that, my love and hate of just this gross fear. Yeah. So Zim's fear there is, it's real, but people in costumes. I was recently followed by Cheeton.
You got followed by Cheeton?
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Just person in a costume falling over. That's good.
If you're not following Cheeton, what's wrong with you? Seriously.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was wondering, do you think Johnny the Homicidal Maniac might ever be adapted to the screen?
Will Johnny ever be adapted to the screen? I guess it's it's on my mind often. I don't know when or if. It's not one of the things that I'm like actively pushing, but maybe someday. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Kind of deal with them where like, if I can make this,
Three.
then I'll make it.
He's asking if I cut a deal with Nickelodeon because they wanted Zim so badly, and I was hesitant. Did I put in some kind of clause, some kind of make a request for, no. You know, part of that is, I didn't have any interest in doing more kid stuff, you know? It kind of, I wouldn't say that I would never do kid stuff. I just, you know, I like working on Zim. Like, what I do, I don't see as being kid stuff. It's hard for me to focus and